The J.J. Abrams Star Trek series in 5 minutes. Everything you need to know about the story so far. Engage. In the year 2233, the USS Kelvin is investigating a strange anomaly when it's attacked by a Romulan ship, the Narada. The Narada's first officer demands the Kelvin's captain come aboard and negotiate, but he's killed by the Romulan captain, Nero. The Kelvin's first officer, George Kirk, gives the order to evacuate the ship, remaining aboard to protect the escape vessels, one of which has his wife aboard, who's giving birth at that very moment. With the autopilot broken, acting Captain Thor steers the Kelvin into the Narada like a goddamn boss to secure his family and crew's escape. We pick up with his delinquent son, James T. Kirk, back on Earth about a decade later after he's stolen his stepfather's 300-year-old Corvette for a Beastie Boys-infused joyride. Which is kind of weird, I guess. I mean, today that'd be like stealing a stagecoach in a blazing cloud of high-volume Mozart. Although now that I say that out loud, it does sound pretty great. Anyway, point is, total scoundrel. Some years after that, we meet a young, far better behaved Spock. Spock is invited to join the Science Academy on his home planet of Vulcan, but opts to join Starfleet instead, the organization in charge of flying the spaceships for Star Trek's United Federation of Planets, which is basically a big space club for aliens who have agreed not to kill each other. We also catch up with Kirk, who gets into a bar fight while hitting on a cadet named Uhura. Afterwards, he's challenged by Captain Christopher Pike to join Starfleet. Kirk enlists, and on his way to Starfleet Academy, he meets Dr. Leonard McCoy.
I may throw up on you.
Several more years later, Kirk is found to have cheated during an unwinnable simulation exercise, but his hearing is interrupted by a distress call from Vulcan.
Dismissed.
Kirk and McCoy board Pike's ship, the Enterprise.
I might throw up on you.
New helmsman Hikaru Sulu accidentally delays the Enterprise as the fleet races to Vulcan, but the error saves the ship. The Enterprise arrives to find the fleet has been ambushed and destroyed, and the Narada is drilling into Vulcan. Pike surrenders to Nero, delegating the ship's command to Spock and promoting Kirk to first officer. Kirk, Sulu, and some bloke called Olsen, the chief engineer, jump down to the Narada's drill. Olsen is wearing red, so he dies. And even though Kirk and Sulu kill the drill, Nero still kills Vulcan. The Narada moves towards Earth while Spock dumps Kirk on a nearby planet after he attempts a mutiny.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
There, Kirk finds old Spock, who tells Kirk he and Nero are from the future.
Excuse me?
Sent back in time by an artificial black hole meant to save Nero's home planet of Romulus from destruction by a supernova. As future Spock failed to save Romulus, Nero marooned Spock here so he could watch present Vulcan suffer the same fate. Kirk and Spock Sr. find a Starfleet outpost where they meet Montgomery Scott, and Kirk and Scotty beam onto the Enterprise. Kirk convinces Spock to give command to him.
You gotta be kidding me.
Before they both beam aboard the Narada, rescue Pike, defeat Nero, and save Earth. Following this, Pike is promoted to Rear Admiral and Kirk becomes the captain of the Enterprise. Old Spock convinces young Spock to stay in Starfleet as Kirk's permanent 2IC, and Scotty stays on to replace that other idiot that incinerated himself. A year later, the Enterprise crew saves a primitive culture from extinction, but Kirk reveals the ship to the locals while saving a stranded Spock, violating the Prime Directive, which strictly forbids Starfleet personnel from messing with the development of alien civilizations.
Like this, big deal.
Kirk is demoted and Admiral Pike is given command again. Unfortunately, Pike is later killed at a meeting in London by rogue Starfleet officer John Harrison, who escapes to the Klingon planet Kronos. Admiral Alexander Marcus gives the Enterprise back to Kirk and sends him to kill Harrison, arming the Enterprise with 72 fancy new photon torpedoes. Scotty refuses to fly with untested weapons and resigns, and during the trip to Kronos, the Enterprise suffers a warp drive failure. Undeterred, Kirk, Spock, and Uhura head down to Kronos and capture Harrison, with a little help from Captain Harold. Dr. McCoy opens a torpedo to find a cryogenically frozen man inside, and it's revealed Harrison's true identity is Khan, and he's a genetically engineered superhuman woken to develop weapons to battle the Klingons. Khan reveals Marcus sabotaged the warp drive, intending the Enterprise to be destroyed by the Klingons after firing on Kronos, triggering a war. Kirk contacts Scotty to tell him he was right about the missiles, and the Enterprise is intercepted by the USS Vengeance, commanded by Marcus, who demands Kirk hand over Khan and his frozen crew.
He's playing you, son. Don't you see that?
The Vengeance disables the Enterprise but suddenly loses all power, sabotaged by Scotty, who has snuck aboard.
Scotty! Call you back.
Kirk and Khan space jump to the Vengeance, but Khan overpowers everyone and seizes control. He demands a crew swap, but Spock has the popsicle people removed from the torpedoes and sends the ladder over, ready to blow. Khan cripples the Enterprise, which begins plummeting to Earth, but the Vengeance is rocked by the exploding torpedoes and joins it. Kirk enters the reactor chamber to manually realign the warp core, knowing the radiation will kill him. He saves the ship, but he dies trapped in the room. Khan crashes the Vengeance into San Francisco's greatest tourist attraction, but survives until he's caught and subdued by Spock after McCoy discovers Khan's blood is magic and could save Kirk. Surprise! They do save Kirk, which is handy because I'm assuming Chris Pine was already signed up for the next one. And that next one is Star Trek Beyond, which you're all caught up for now, so feel free to boldly go to the cinema and get it in your eyeballs. Go on, make it so.
Okay, let's never do that again.